see the underside. All these spongy spores. See just how big that is. The other one right there. Just had a lot of rain this week, so no doubt these just popped up. Peel that off. Wow, perfect. Super fresh. With the first warm rain of the year and night temps reaching well into the 50s, most foragers have only one thing on their mind, and that's morels. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't one of them. However, as anyone who's foraged for morels knows, more times than not, you either come back empty-handed or with a handful of something else, be it ramps, wild garlic, or tears. Today is no exception. And while I may not be sauteing morels in a bath of salted butter tonight, I will be dabbling with one of the most undervalued edible wild mushrooms, Dryad saddle, otherwise known as Dryad saddle or pheasant's back. I'll not only tell you how and when to find it, how to identify it and its close lookalike, but also how to prep and cook this delicious choice edible mushroom. Dryad saddle, often called pheasant's back, due to this pattern on its cap, which resembles pheasant feathers, is one of the first mushrooms to appear in the spring, typically as soon as April, and extending throughout the month of May in northern climates. At first glance, its appearance can be described as fleshy, almost scaly, yellowish tan bracket-looking fungus with large white pores underneath and a short stalk. Now this guy is arguably the largest cap mushroom here in the US and across the sea in the UK. It can become so heavy that its sheer weight makes it fall off its host tree. This is pretty common for large fruiting parasitic bodies. In fact, just this past year, I found my first chaga at the base of a birch tree the same way. It was completely whole and intact, weighing a few pounds, so it's no surprise that I found it where I did. Similarly to chaga and its parasitic relationship with birch trees, Dryad saddle causes a white rot on its unfortunate tree host. Sorry, buddy. Which will kill the tree if it's not already dead. You can see this section right here is dead, and that's why it's growing right here, though it does grow on live trees as well. You can see this is kind of a cluster. This one's dead, this one's alive, that one's alive, the furthest one's dead, dead, alive, alive, dead. So it's every other tree, making this a perfect host to grow from. There's really only one common lookalike to Dryad saddle. The tuberous polypore Polyporus tuberaster looks very similar, but is generally smaller. The stem's more central and less eccentric. The stem base may also darken, but will not turn black, and the patterning on the cap is lighter than Dryad saddle. Now, the ideal size to harvest is widely debated due to its natural toughness. I'll just say the sooner, the better. Though an example like this, I've harvested bigger than this, though I was here about 5 days ago, and this was the same size, so I know this is probably tough by now. You can't always go by the size to know when to harvest. If you were in the area a couple days ago and it wasn't there, pick it. Or when in doubt, give it a squeeze test. When it gets tough like this, you want to discard. So when I get home, I'll probably keep the outer 2-3 inches, cut around this like that. Now I was here 5 days ago and I collected these and ate the entire thing. I only needed to cut off the stem here that connects to the tree. The rest was good to go. So your window to harvest these and have them still be nice and soft is extremely short. I'd say anywhere from 4 to 6 days, definitely less than a week. Oddly enough, Dryad saddle has a cucumbery, almost citrus, I'd say more like watermelon scent to it, but a more mushroomy scent when cooked or dried. Due to their fast growth rate and enormous size, many people opt to dry and powderize Dryad saddle to make a good mushroom stock in bulk. I'm just going to toss the excess fresh pieces I harvested into a pot with some chicken of the woods to make a wild mushroom broth. I'm just cleaning off my Dryad saddle real quick, which compared to most mushrooms is super simple thanks to their natural toughness and smooth surface, which lacks any ridges or grooves. They also grow super fast, so there's hardly any time for bugs and debris to build up on their caps. So here I'm taking my excess Dryad saddle and chicken of the woods, which I'll be posting a video on soon, and tossing them into a pan. I chopped them up into manageable sizes just so I could sweat out some of the moisture before mixing them in with the veggies and herbs. You want to do this on medium heat and constantly turn them to let the water evaporate. Once I've tossed them in with the rest of the ingredients, I just stir them around and let them slowly cook for a couple hours. Now for the fun part. If you want to eat them with a nice warm dish, say to complement a nice steak, here's how. I'm just getting this fire prep so I can cook over some hot coals. I recommend using pine if you're cooking over a fire and super hungry, as it burns a lot quicker. You don't have to wait as long for the coals to form. I like to shape the tender edges off the Dryad saddle into thin slices, and if it's too tough to cut with minimum pressure, it's probably too tough to eat. Luckily, I didn't have to waste any of this aside from the stem, and I stuck with some basic seasoning of salt and pepper, plus some smoked paprika, and tossed them in with some fiddleheads. After they sweat for a few minutes, go ahead and add in your butter or olive oil and seasoning. Soy sauce also goes well with them. And once they've been seared on both sides, they're done. Well, if you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments, and don't hesitate to subscribe if you want more land tips like this, from gardening to foraging. Saddle up and go foraging.